Okay. We need and answer quite some questions for those of you that have questions. So until we are all here, or we let our friends know that we are here, please notify them and let's come in and talk mentorship, talk growth, and speak. I know so many of you have watched the videos, and it's quite amazing the feedback that I am getting. And Marie, I don't know where you get your speed from, but if you get here, just give me a thumbs up if the number one, if the picture is clear and if the sound is all right, so that I know we are on the same page. Okay, give me a thumbs up. Let me know, is the picture clear? Because sometimes I have everything set up in front of me, and then all of a sudden I am told the picture was blurry, and then the voice was not clear. So Aisha, good to have you, and Robert. The picture is clear, awesome, and I hope the sound is clear as well. So tonight I want us to do a Q&A. I want us to this to be more interactive. If you have a question, do not hesitate. Okay, make sure that you bring it, because first come, first serve. Thank you, Aisha. I know I can count of you on you, and I know if you say it's clear, then it's clear. So let's go and let's start. If you have a question, please do not hesitate. Bring it forth. Today, I want it to be interactive. I want to know what's happening in your life. I want to know where are you in your life, okay? And what's happening? Thank you so much, Robert Mellon. You're saying loud and clear, crystal clear picture. Thank you. And I just want to know, what do you think you can do different to help you better your life, better your career, better your passion and purpose, and what is it that you can do different? Okay, I don't want you to keep turning in bed and thinking, and yet we can actually help each other, or we can talk about these things. What have you been going through lately? Have you been going through a depression? Have you been going through a mind it's, I will call it a mind blog? Okay, Chala Zaitun, good to have you. Sound and pick, okay, great, and good to have you as well. So I just want to know what's happening in your life. Where are you stuck? We have talked about being stuck so many times, and so many of us have opened up to being stuck in one way or another in our lives, or on our career path, and sometimes in our passion. When you think you are so passionate about something, and yet you feel like there's no way, like you're pushing too much, like things are not just moving at the pace that you want them to move. And maybe you think, I'm not dreaming enough, or maybe you think you're running ahead of yourself. So this is a space where we get to open up. This is a space where we get to share. And then I would love to also know, what have you learned these past few months? Because it's very possible you have learned something that could actually help me or help anyone on this live session. Okay, so I want you to feel free to chat me up in the chat box. Let's interact, let's talk. I don't want to talk alone tonight, and I want to be able to build on what you actually bring, and then I will be able definitely to throw in a few of my things that I came prepared to talk about. But until then, I know that we are all, we get stuck so many times in one way or another. Alan, good to have you. Alan is from the Gladiators, that is Gladiators 2. Okay, we have Gladiators 1 and we have Gladiators 2. And we have Transformers in the house, we have Freedom Seeker. No, not Freedom Seeker as yet, but we have Gladiator 2, we have Transformers so far, those that I have seen. And so if you are here, you have a question, please throw it. If you are here, you have a lesson that you have learned, and you feel like that is something you can share with us, please feel free. And Could be a quote, something that you read, something that helped you on on your career path, on your journey to finding your purpose and clarity. I want to be able to hear that from you. Okay, so until I hear from you about those things that I've talked about, let's talk. Okay, let's just discuss. And so who wants to go first? If you are there, who wants to go first? Hello, Coach. This is Alan from Gladiators 2. Alan from Gladiators 2, good to have you. I don't know what time it is where you are right now, but I just love your energy. I love your commitment to this. And I'm just surprised. Alan, you're doing well. Marie, you're doing well. Alan, you're doing wow, awesomely well. Princess Angie, you're doing so. I mean, so many of you are blowing my mind. The speed at which you are running, and then there are people that I mean, I just can't comprehend. The people that is the transformers. Mostly, I think I have transformers that are running at a very terrific speed, and then I've seen people whose giftings are as solid as I don't know what I can compare them to. Like they are really, really solid, and the world cannot wait to actually hear from you. And the world cannot wait to hear you or to have you actually solve its issues and its problems. So I want you to be able to look at that and be able to acknowledge the fact that we all have callings and we all have giftings. And these giftings, by the way, are not just to serve you, these giftings are to serve the world. And so if you want to serve the world, that means you need to learn and you need to be able to do something. Thank you, Coach, for the appraisal. This is side is 9. Okay, 9. Oh, you're just 1 hour ahead of us. Yeah, just 1 hour ahead of us. So that's not so bad. Not so bad at all. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to read something here that I felt okay. That's it's so easy to get carried away by title, position, money, but be careful. There's much more to life. Take the time to find your true purpose. That's when you will find true fulfillment. Money, titles, position can go in a twinkle of an eye. You know, we love the earthly position, I thought the positions and, all those things. But as in, who are you? There's something that transcends, there's something that goes above and beyond. There's something that will keep you awake, something that you want to hone your skill in order to serve the world better, because we are all leaders and we are going to serve the world, and we are already serving the world in different ways. So be very careful not to get taken away, because most of us, when you get and that is why I hate positions and names and titles and all that. For those of you that have seen me for quite some time, I actually prefer being called Bahati or Hilda, and that's it. I mean, in as much as I have other titles that are actually worked for and earned but painfully, but you realize that you can be called the greatest and you take up that pride and you're not able to actually serve. So be very careful when you talk about positions, when you talk about placement, when you talk about possessions. Make sure that when you talk about money, money is the other thing. Money, you should be able to tame money. For those of you that have watched these videos, you will testify that there's so many things that you have been able to I've been able to touch on so many subjects, money inclusive, because I know money is a source of so many problems and is a source of evil. So if money is going to take your attention, if you're going to do this for money, if you're setting out to do anything in service, in leadership, in impacting the world, set out with only one reason, to get money, then you have failed before you even begin. But the moment you do things in order to impact, to change someone's life and to do something positive and to see a smile on someone's face, let me tell you, you have won before you even begin the journey. You have won. Why? Because you have the right intention, and the right intention is going to give you the right momentum, and the right momentum will garner the right speed, and the right speed is actually going to be unstoppable. Okay, it's never going to be stoppable, because then everything else can go, but your intention will never deviate, and it will never dwindle, and it will never walk away from you. So I want us to check our motives. If your motive is to make money, then you are in the wrong place, because money should be an added advantage. Money should come to you running. You should attract money. You should become like a magnet for money, because when you do good, the world and the universe conspires and God blesses you. Okay, so I want you to set your mind on one thing. The goal and the prize should be, I want to see a smile on someone's face. I want to see someone's marriage changed. I want to see people settling in their marriages. I want relationships to turn into happy, thriving places. I want homes to be happy habitations for children. I want, what do you do? I want workers and corporate workers to know their right and what they ought to do, and to thrive also in their element. I want CEOs to do this and that. Now, your motive is to actually help, is to serve. It's about them, it's not about you. Now, when you make it about them, then without even praying and needing and being desperate, things are going to be added onto you. The titles will come without you calling them. The money will come without you calling it. But even when the money comes, and by the way, I made a prayer sometime, and I said, God, I think in this life, I don't need too much money that is going to take me away from your will, and that is going to take me away from the service of people. Because I think serving people is the greatest thing, is the sweetest thing, is the most fulfilling thing, and the best satisfaction that I could ever get. Okay? And so if I'm to have money, let me have money enough to make my life easy while I serve the people. And if I'm to get any extra money, then let me give that money back into the service of people to be able to replenish them. Okay, we have Alan. You're saying, Coach, can you please give us a coaching demo? For example, in a point, I have a male client who is in a toxic marriage. The situation is leading him to become alcoholic. Okay, I'm going to get that. My motive is to transform people's mindsets. Transform people's mindsets. Now, when you talk about transform people's mindsets, my friend, that requires patience, that requires skill, that requires you detaching from there, you having the empathy about their issues, and again detaching from their issues. So you see how intricate the detail is when it comes to mindset, because mindsets are the hardest things to switch. Why? Because mindsets get, and I would not say sedimented, but I think, yes, they sediment over time. Like they build on layers and layers and layers according to upbringing, according to where we've been, most of them external factors and some of them internal factors and personality traits. So you realize there's so many things that have built up into this person to where they are right now. Some of them have worked for them and some of them have not worked for them. But again, most of the times we carry on mindsets that have not worked for us, and we just never edit them out of our lives. We find ourselves self-sabotaging and repeating the same mindsets, repeating the same actions, because it begins in the mind, in the thought, and then it's translated into the action. So if the mindset is rotten, the actions are going to be rotten. Okay, so there is no way you can differentiate, you can take away the other from the other. So that is where you really have, that is where I say your number one motive, just like you've said, is to transform people's mindsets. So that means have enough information. Okay, number one. Number two, transform your own mind. And only a transformed mind can transform mindsets. Okay? If you are, this is how it was and this is how it is and forever will be, and you're stuck in your old kinds of operation and beliefs, and all of a sudden you are employing someone, or you are telling someone, or urging them, or beseeching them to actually look at what they are currently doing and the mindset that is bringing about that particular problem, and how to tweak it and change it. How are you going to actually be very practical? Because you just don't know what we call what's called mindset change. You don't know, because if you have not done it, then you cannot help anyone else change their mind. So you begin by editing yourself. Look at the time you wake up. Look at the kinds of foods that you eat. Look at the kinds of friends that you invite in your friends and attract in your life. Look at your finances and how you spend them. Look at how your relationships are. My goodness, there's so many areas in your life that are affected by the mindset, because it's the central processing system, and it's the belief. It creates the beliefs, and the beliefs are the ones that actually run our lives. So you see how intricate and detailed that is, that if you cannot transform your mindset, then you cannot help another person transform their mindset. You cannot be eating in a way that is unhealthy, and then you're helping people to see the bad they are doing in eating unhealthy. You can't. That is where we have so many motivational speakers that have gone astray, because they say, do what I say, but don't do what I do. My friend, in this world and era, and right now we are in we are in an era, by the way, where people do not listen to you, people watch you. That is why we have social media. That is why we are more into reality. That is why people want to know, who is Bahati? Does she have a family? Does she have children? How does she relate with her husband? How does she relate? What is she telling us? People have bantu bakowu, because they usually say, yeah, atugamba chi, talina kyatugamba, talina kyakola chi. Why? They don't know who you are. Where do you come from? What are the battles that you have fought? What mindset shifts have you had in your life that have led you to where you are, that people can look at you and say, I really want to be like that person. When you talk about your marriage with a lot of enthusiasm, and then people are not, you're not faking it. Why? Because you did it 5 years ago, you did it 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You and your husband are just not playing games. You are actually living a thriving marriage. So everyone is like, And then when you talk about your life, and you're like, by the way, it's not that we don't fight. It's not that, I mean, we have the ups and downs that the relationships have, but we have a new dimension and new mindsets about how to tackle the issues that we go through. And we never sleep on our anger. We never, insult each other. We have revised the way we relate with each other. And so someone is like, she is the right person to go to. Why? At least I know a little bit about her life, and I love her outcome. People come for outcomes. People don't come for the process. People don't love the process, okay? So if you're coming into coaching and counseling, people don't like the process. Even if you stipulate it, that is why you'll tell someone you will tell them to have 6 sessions in order to maybe to have a mindset shift, or to change a few things in their lives. They will appear once, and some of them, I have had clients that have paid for 6 months or for a year, and then they appear once and they never appear again. And even if you follow up with the message, or you follow up, or sometimes my PA sends them messages and reminds them about their upcoming sessions, they never respond. Like, they feel like you are nagging, and yet they paid a lot of money for the full year, because you recommended 8 sessions or 12 sessions, but they are nowhere to be seen. And whenever they land into a problem, then they're like, madam, a quick one, can you help me here? And then you're like, no, I cannot help you from wherever you are. If you booked for sessions, come to office, let's talk. So people don't like the process, people like the results. And how are they going to see the results? They are going to see them through you. Okay, okay. Glad to be here. I needed this. Inspired by your humble character. Thank you, Sylvia. And Blessed Christine Abigail. Hi, dear Major Coach. Proud of you. Thank you. Blessed Christine Abigail Segawa is the president, Transformers, and then the overall president or leader for the mentorship. Okay, she's doing such an awesome job. She's running so many departments, but she's doing an awesome job. So thank you for coming on here with us. Martin Musoke, good to have you. Nance Maya, good to have you. And let's go to this question that, remember, if you have a question, if you have a statement or something that you need clarity about, please just send it through and let's talk about it. Coach, can you please give us a coaching demo? For example, case in point, I have a male client who is in a toxic marriage. The situation is leading him to become an alcoholic. Okay, now this is where we do the probing. We go into finding out what exactly is happening in their lives, because someone can tell you a plain statement like that, I'm in a toxic marriage and that is why I'm really getting to do a lot of alcohol. Now that scenario can go so many ways. Number one way it can go, if you really probe them and you find and they get to open up, okay, and then you ask them how toxic their relationship is, okay. When you tell them to name character traits that show toxicity in their relationships, now, if it's really a toxic relationship, you will tell. Because we have talked about narcissists. If you're on the mentorship, I have actually done a full course unit. I think 10 videos on narcissism and detailed videos. So make sure that you watch them. Now, because toxic behaviors and narcissism closely they want to relate. Okay, so when someone tells you, okay, my wife is manipulative, you ask them how manipulative, like what is the example of manipulation. If they say my wife disrespects me, I want you to be able to ask them, how do they disrespect you? Give me cite one example where you really felt disrespected. Now if someone is really genuine, they will cite true areas where they felt disrespected. But if someone is not true, because remember, you will get both the true and the untrue. Those that are not actually speaking the truth, they've come for help, but they're not willing to speak the truth. And so most of the times, if the man is the one that is actually toxic, this is what they will run along the lines of, my wife disrespects me. And so if you ask the details, you're like, whenever I'm speaking, either she's speaking back at me, or she keeps quiet when I tell her about something and we are arguing, and she keeps quiet and walks away, or something like that. And maybe in your mind, that is where your mind has to be trained and mentored as a coach to see, okay, why is this woman actually walking away? Is she walking away to cool off? Is she walking away because she's tired? She's been complaining about the same thing and she's not getting a response. And when she gets a response, it's not actually a touching response, okay? It's not something that solves the problem. I think you've seen couples that do not talk about issues. A man or a woman commits a problem, the other one feels disrespected and belittled, but when they bring it up, they're like, you know what, you quarrel too much, you're so nagging, you're so needy, you're so desperate. Okay, JM Kakwembo, good to have you. And so this person actually ends up, and now you should be very, very careful when it comes to couples. This is why I never deal with one side of the couple unless the other partner totally refuses to come through. And so whenever I listen to one side of the story, I make sure that I play devil's advocate myself, okay, and look at the other side of the coin. But again, better yet, I send them back to actually come back, because I tell them, you cannot solve a marital problem alone unless the other person just has refused. Okay, if the person has refused, then we can find a different way. But if the person has not refused, give them a chance. Let them come, let's talk and find out how we can actually go about this issue. And most times when the partner comes, you'll find that they will tell you something totally different. So this is what I will tell you. Do not get annoyed when a client tells you about what they are going through. Do not get too emotional. No. How can this woman do this? How can this woman insult him? How can this woman deny him sex? How can this woman, not do her wifely duties at home? Okay? Does she actually have a man? Or she has a drunkard who falls in the trenches? Does she actually does she have a provider? or this guy is actually waiting for the woman to give him airtime and to give him everything, and then still want to have, to have everything the way it's supposed to be, and not even in a peaceful way, because so many women have taken of their care of their homes, but when they are on good terms, and you will never know that a woman is actually helping out or taking care of the home. But when she has a good man on her side, you will do it without even flinching, whether you will do it without even closing your eyes, because it will not be a burden. You will be contributing to your own family. But once there is a problem, and then a person who tells you, be careful of a person who tells you that because of toxicity, I have resorted to drinking. Is that helping, or is it making the problem worse? Because you can never treat a wound by actually cutting it further. Okay, no, you can never. Yes, they can try to scrape off, the rot and what, and clean it and do what. But again, you can never want to go into the same injury and poke it again and again and again. So whether it's a woman, a lady that has appeared to you as a coach or a counselor, or someone that is helping, because we are going to help so many people. Even if you're not a counselor or coach, we help so many people. But when someone comes to you and tells you, now it's because she does not give me sex, that is why I went and married a second woman. No, you wanted to marry a second woman. Tewekwasa. Okay, so the thing is, you're not going to tell them that as a counselor or as a helper. You're not going to tell them that. But in a very good approach, you'll tell them, now, do you think, does that solve a problem? Does that add on to a problem? And then they will tell you, auntie, she will become jealousy, and then she will come back and start doing the nice things and do. Now, that is manipulative. That is not problem solving. And that is not what a true man does. A true man that loves his spouse sits down with the spouse, and if they cannot sit down and look eye to eye and solve their problem, then they engage either family, or they engage a counselor or a coach. And after engaging a counselor and things are not actually working out, I usually tell people, you can decide and say, okay, enough is enough. I have sought enough help, and it's vivid and in glass that this person has refused to change. Let me tell them, you know what, let's end this so that I can start my own life and you start your own life. And if that does not also touch them or change them, that means that person does not love you and they're not willing to change. But again, do not do anything subsidiary to that. Make sure that you walk out of one union and then begin another union. Or you don't say, because alcohol, you actually bringing problems to yourself. So if you say you resorted to alcohol, are you taking, is it medicine? Is it going to treat, or it's going to make worse? Because you will take alcohol, then you will find yourself womanizing, you will go live with someone, you will get HIV AIDS, and then you will say, oh, mukazi ye yabindeetera. No, mukazi si yabikuleetera. Your brain was upside down. Okay, we don't solve problems by running away from problems. We solve problems by facing them head on. So now when you have now this, because you have to be an all-rounder. Okay, when you help, you have to be an all-rounder. Okay, and you have to help people know that what they are doing is not right, in a very calm way and humble way and very polite way. And sometimes you probe. You ask them, is it helping? And maybe they will tell you, I'm even spending a lot of money. I even got friends that are not helping. I even got. So is that solving your home problem, or you actually just running away from it? What do you think, if you sat her down and talked to her honestly, what do you think her response will be? Some spouses have never sat down with their spouses to talk. So they will be like, I've never sat down. She looks disinterested. And I'm like, have you ever initiated? Have you made an advance to actually talk to this person? You'll find that she's not actually bad after all. Okay, and those are the kinds of people who will tell you, but now, coach or counselor, can you be the one to talk to them for me? No, as a counselor, as a coach, that is not your duty. Your duty is to talk to people who are ready, unless you're getting into matchmaking, and unless because we have to look at these things wisely. So if you see this couple that has really been struggling and you feel like, okay, if I took the first step, now this has to be done as you get out of the counseling arena and you do it as a person because you have empathy and you want to help. And you're like, you know what? I'll initiate a call, and maybe I'll call her and have coffee with her and talk to her, something like that. But those should be few instances, because oja kuswala, when you call someone and someone tells you, I'm not interested, actually I left that marriage long time ago. And they're like, long time ago, like, how long did you leave the marriage? Yeah, we've been living in the same house, but for me, I'm doing my things and he's doing his things. My friend, oja kufida mu movie yo. But when you feel, okay, I mean, I really want to go an extra mile and help this person. And this person has shown me that they don't have problem solving skills, and I have seen it that they don't have problem solving skills, and I can't just leave them pending. Then you can go an extra mile and do it. But remember, if you even put a disclaimer and say, I have gone out of my role as a counselor, because as a counselor, I am not supposed to look for you, the client. You, the client, is supposed to look for me, because you're supposed to be willing to be helped. You're supposed to be willing to do the work, to put in the effort, and then to review, for us to review how far you have gone. That is how a good relationship goes. But if I'm the one coming to you, that means when we meet and you don't give me feedback, then I don't have a right to actually follow up and ask you, because who am I to you? I came as a friend, not actually as a counselor. So be very careful. That is when you actually put a disclaimer and say, I'm not coming to you as a counselor. I think I'm coming to you as a friend who would want to help, and I'm touched by this. But again, only as far as you can help, you can let me. If you don't want me to be involved, I will be hands off and I will not even talk. And by the way, coaches and counselors, you avoid talking to a woman's husband behind their back. You avoid that. When you're dealing with a couple, make sure that you are transparent, and make sure that even if it's the man that booked but they came together, make sure that when you're giving feedback, you give feedback to both. When you're sending messages, you send messages to both. As in, be professional. Do be professional. I have seen counselors and coaches that have buried their careers. They recently, I saw a certain counselor around town in Kampala here, and many women were pointing fingers at her and saying she loves their husbands. And I was like, what kind of wicked thing is that? But you would think it's actually not possible. And I was like, you know what? I don't know what the full story is, but apparently there were so many women that were throwing her off balance, and they were saying she was having, flirting with their husbands. It started as a counseling session, and all of a sudden the woman is the one who brought his man, but again the counselor stayed chatting with the man. I was like, who does that? Okay, and that is why we need to be mentored. You cannot just enter an arena of helping people without being prepared. Let me tell you, court summons are very, very real. You can be summoned to court. I have been summoned to court more than 5 times. 5 times. On 2 accounts, people had died, and those people had come to my office. One of them committed suicide, and the other, I think he wanted to hurt someone. Now, good enough, when these people actually came, I tipped off when the person that committed suicide came to my office and talked to me. I asked for the next of kin, and I called the next of kin even in the middle of the session before this person left. I actually told them that this person has come, but they're at their wits' end. We have talked, we have started on the journey, but it seems, and it was because of a heartbreak, but it seems this other person is in his life poking him, and so if you can go and sleep with him at his place, make sure that there is enough protection for him. And I did not stop at the next of kin. I made sure that I call police and I log in. It's not even a complaint. It's just a statement that so-and-so came to my office this date and this is what we talked about. But I have a fear that this one session, I'm supposed to have multiple sessions with them, but this one session cannot turn everything around. So he needs more therapy. But again, I fear for his life. Now, when that happened, I think they thought the girl that had broken up with him was the one that killed him. But the girl knew that actually the man had come to my office. So the girl followed up and was like, when she went to police, made her statement, she was like, actually, he had seen a counselor and so and so counselor and what. They came to office and they summoned my notebooks. And they were like, okay, so and so was here. Which date was that? And I had to look through my records. I had to present the notes. I had to present that I called the next of kin. The next of kin agreed that I actually called them. I went to police. I mean, they called police, and police was like, yes, we have a logged in statement for this date. And I mean, that is how I actually get out of the whole thing. But if I had not, maybe I would have been in a cell somewhere waiting, waiting to see what's going on. And what would that have on my reputation as someone who helps people? It would have tainted my reputation, because the bloggers in Kampala apparently love anything to do with bamkute, gundi, you know, you answer simanyi client we yakoze, you know. So let's be professional to the dot. Professional to the dot. Okay, so we're learning this professionalism even early on. I'm loving this stage in my life. It comes with more clarity and challenges. Exactly, more clarity and more challenges. Every level, the higher you go, the more challenges, because then your brain is wider than it was, and it will never shrink back because of all the knowledge that you have gotten, because of the exposure that you have gotten, because of the truth that you have known. You cannot unknow it, you know, so you cannot go back. You don't have the luxury. So it's both a blessing and a curse that it brings more challenges, and then there is need for more growth and expanding, and that is the challenge. Okay, that is where you find yourself dreaming bigger. That is where you find yourself that you have less time than you need in a day. That is where you find that, okay, you're picky with your friends and who is close to you. Like, you are so aware and so alert. And so it's good. Just like I said, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, but more of a blessing. Why? Because if you are going through a refinery, just imagine the gold and silver, when they're going through a refinery, when you were, what are they called, when you had soil all over you and you were just dug and you were from the mines, and then you got to discover your purpose, and your purpose was polished and your vision became clear, and then all of a sudden you're this sparkling gold. I mean, through the refinery, through the fire, it's not easy, because we are not where we want to be. But let me tell you, we are not where we used to be. So we thank God for where we are, the clarity that He has brought, and the challenges that have come, because then that call for more resilience, and they call for more awakening, and then they call us to actually be action oriented more than anything in the world. Okay, so I love that. I love that for you, Coach Zaitun. Most people lack professional ethics. Lord have mercy on us. Thank you so much for addressing my question. You are giving me clarity. We need the clarity. Let me tell you, so many times people are at crossroads, and especially people who I've seen so many people in this town who have been like, I'm self-made, I'm a self-made millionaire, I'm a self-made this. But let me tell you, we've had people that have helped us in life, and I acknowledge that with all honesty. I've had people that have helped me. I have stepped on so many people's shoulders to reach where I am, and I am so grateful. That is why when I decide to when I decide to do in my ability, my small ability, I do it with one heart, because then I know that I'm also a shoulder that someone can stand on to reach even further. And this is what I believe, that someone, is going to be better than me. Someone is going to impact more people than me. If I have impacted millions, then someone is going to impact trillions. If I have impacted thousands, then someone is going to impact millions. Okay, and how can I be able to be part of that blessing? Actually, it's a blessing for me to be a part of your life and to be a part of your journey, and just to know you and rub shoulders with you. To me, it is a blessing. I don't take it lightly. Okay, so I just pray that we all move in the same direction. We get as much clarity as we can. Let me tell you, that clarity is going to help you in your personal life, sort out your personal issues and challenges. It's going to help you to help so many people sort out their issues. So many people are going to have fathers and mothers because you woke up and did something. You said something on Twitter, you said something on Facebook, you said something on radio, you said something on TV, you said something in writing or in your book, and someone's life changed. Let me tell you, the people that say their lives have changed because of me, I can't numb, and I don't think I will ever know. I don't think I will ever know. I get new people every day, and I get new comments every day, and I get new, sometimes gifts every other, maybe big days, celebrating birthdays and what, from people I don't know. And so many people have named their children Hilda and Bahati. And I'm like, okay, I didn't think what I was doing was too much out of this world. No, I am doing the normal things, but keep doing the normal things. You don't need to do anything that is out of the ordinary. No. You don't have to know what is in the heaven for you to speak and people listen. No. Talk about the normal things, because it's the normal things, the real things that fail us. We fail to wake up on time. We fail to eat the right food. We fail to relate the right way. We fail to respect and to command respect or to earn the respect. We fail to affirm ourselves. We fail to love ourselves. We fail to take care of ourselves, to take care of our emotions and and be healthy emotionally. We fail at those things. Now, those are the real things that people are suffering with. Do not go into the heaven and say, God, just give me some problems. What do people have? No. Just walk around your home area, you will find problems. Just in your village, take a walk on your foot. If you drive, just go on your foot and make sure that you look around. I tried to do that on my village where I stay during the lockdown. It's the only time I walked around my village. And let me tell you, I saw so many people that needed help. I saw so many people. And so I was like, you know what? I was touched by women that had children that didn't even have food and their husbands had left them and I couldn't count them. I was touched by the old people that were in their houses that were about to fall on them, that didn't have even roofs and they didn't have beddings to cover themselves. And yet they had children in towns somewhere, but those children did not mind. And I was like, I cannot wait for these children to mind. I will buy blankets. I will build a new house for this old woman. But again, that is a blessing, okay? To know that I have contributed something to someone. I have made someone's life better. So we make people's lives better, not by giving them money, definitely. That is another level that you get to. And you feel like giving back money-wise. And you're going to get to that, by the way. I can't wait for you to get to that. It is so sweet. When you begin helping people with their normal lives and you begin appreciating and evolving and growing and amassing wealth yourself, and you get to a place where you don't just tell people God bless you. You don't just tell people, you know what, go back and do something, and you're able to lend a hand and say, okay, you've been on the road, you've been on the streets, you have 2 children, and you want to settle down, you're willing to work. This is rent for 2 months. It blesses your heart. It just blesses my heart when I do that. How does one cost a coaching session? Forewarned, okay? Okay, how does one cost a coaching session? Now, number one, it depends on demand, okay? Because we are at different levels and we've gotten different kinds of exposure. And then it takes getting used to, for people to get used to that you are the kind that is charging. And it's going to come with some people bashing you, and it's going to come with some people who are willing to actually spend the money to come and see you. Now, when you get to a place and say, okay, I want to start charging for my services. And so you begin by asking yourself, who are the people that I attract? Who are these people that are attracted to my brand? Now, the people that are attracted to your brand give you a threshold, okay? Because most times we attract people depending either on the platforms we are on or the communities or the people around us. And so sometimes you will have to charge differently for different types of people. And when you speak to them, I'll give you an example. when I was, let me say, on NTV, the kind of clientele that I got from NTV, I don't know for whatever reasons, because NTV is supposed to have the A, the B, and the C, and the C, but for whatever reasons, they were giving me D and E and some C. Okay, so that means there were people that would call you, because the show was Luganda. Then there were people who would call you in Luganda. Some of them in Sembabule and in Mitiana and in Maganjo and in Jinja and what, and they want to tell you their problem on phone, and then you have to get to a place and say, you know what? No, I don't deal with problems on phone. If you really want a phone session, you have to pay for it so that I can give you a particular hour that I will have reserved for you, and then we can speak in that particular hour. And to speak on phone, that 30,000. That is for the beginners market, okay? That is for D, E, and C lower. You can say, okay, that is, 30,000, because there's a housewife that will need to talk to you nenga afuna za kameza. Because that is the crowd. Now, when it came to to Bucket Day, that was a different scenario altogether. Different scenario. Like people who did not know anything about any coach charging. They loved the material. They loved listening. They loved the counsel. They loved the guidance. But they just didn't know that in this world there is anything like paying for a client. So I would know that if I got to a place and I was like, okay, whenever I leave Bucket Day or I leave these Luganda TV stations, I'm going to give my PA my phone, and she is going to sieve through and see whether there are any real clients, and some people don't respond immediately. Some people respond after a year, after 3 years, or after, but consistently stay building your brand in the background, even as you get the exposures. And the exposure can be Facebook. Okay, and the Facebook has a lot of people now. Facebook has mostly actually it still has C, and it still has a bit of B, but A has gone off Facebook, and now most A is on Instagram. B, C, and yes, you will find even the D and C on Instagram, but they will not be as active. Okay, so you have to know, you have to be very strategic according to which platforms you talk to people about. But creating normal relationships is a good thing. So you can say, you know what, if you call me and you want to talk to me on phone, it's 30. If you want to meet me, it's 50,000, and if you want to meet me as a couple, it's 100,000. Now that is for beginners, for beginners. As you go on growing, you'll find that, okay, now to talk to me on phone, you will you will give me 50,000 to speak to me on phone, and that is for between 45 minutes and an hour, because you're not going to solve everything in so many hours. No, you make sure that you have a limited time frame, 45 minutes to an hour max, to talk to someone. And you're like, okay, so for you to be able to come to office or to come to a place and meet me, it's 100,000, because you value your time. I want you to be able to charge according to the value that you give people, because you are giving them value. Otherwise, they would not come to you. You charge because for your time. You charge for the knowledge that you are giving to them. And those are things that are priceless. So do not underprice yourself, but again, do not hike your prices too fast. Okay? So I've given you the beginner's guide, and then the intermediary, which is phone 50,000 and meeting me 100,000. And if it's a couple, 150 or 200,000. Okay, and most times they will bargain, but in the beginning, you make sure if someone is bargaining, you look at it and say, okay, I really want to help you, and you strike a balance with this person. Why? Because your number one is to really help, but again, you don't want to help free of charge. Okay, so you attach a price to it, and you tell them, and they will respect it, because the moment you keep doing free things, whoever you deal with goes and tells another person. Even for the speaking engagements, whenever you're invited to speak and you speak freely, that person gives you few other like 5 and he's like wanze njamu kugambira ja kwa bore werere taina chagenda kujja konze mukwano gwange even if you met once. So you just make sure that, okay, I have a solid plan. For example, if I'm going to speak at your speaking engagement for an hour, I will speak for 30 minutes. If you want me at a bridal shower for an hour, I'll speak for 300,000, or I will speak for 500,000 an hour. Okay, because right now as I speak, my hour, I charge per hour. My hour is 1 million. For any company or any other engagement, speaking engagement, 1 hour strictly. So if you want 2 hours and what, you go on calculating according to how you want it to be. And so, but before you get to that, you must build your clientele. So when you begin at 300,000 or 200,000, depending on what they say, because people know how to bargain, you're like, you know what, I will show up. But when I show up for this bridal shower and I do a good job, that means like I will have like 10 people or 20 people that go to different homes that maybe will have different bridal showers and they will want to invite me. And so you're like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm planting seeds for future harvest. So I will go because I also have something to gain. And that is one way of also of displaying your abilities and what you're doing. So charge according to your value, charge respecting your time, and charge respecting the knowledge that you bring to the table. If you keep doing something free, people will never even respect it. I have seen that when someone pays for something, they actually respect it and take it seriously, and they will even respect you the more. But the moment you give them free things, they're like, good young man, but you know, why? Because they're not going to follow. I mean, whether I do it or I don't do it, to whoever it may concern. So charging is paramount, but make sure that your brand is growing. Let's not have stunted brands, okay? Make sure your brand is growing. Make sure you feed it. Make sure you nourish it. Make sure you push it. Make sure that you don't get tired of pushing what you do, what you stand for, your values. Let the people know you, that when they ask, what does the Zaitun do? Let people not second guess themselves. Let them say she makes relationships better. Let them say she will make you fall in love, even if you're not in love. Let it be on the mouth, on the lips of people, that they know what your brand does, instead of second guessing. Oba akola ku biki, oba akola ku by'abakyala. Simanyi na kumanya, sibitegeera mbu kansala mu. So your brand is still stuck somewhere. So let's throw more clarity onto our brands. That will help us actually charge much better. Okay, Coach, you have the abundance mentality mindset. You're really inspiring. Cheers. Coach, transformation is too heavy. Sometimes I feel like my body is being stretched out and even aches, and I feel the fatigue. But to know I am on the right direction makes me go even harder and harder. And let me tell you, something that costs you, something that does something to you, that brings the sweet pain, that you'll feel like, the sleepless nights, you're turning in bed, you're thinking about this idea, you're thinking about the other idea, you're thinking, what can I do now? How can I launch out? That is a good thing. That is a good thing. You will never have time for small talk. You will never have that, okay? You will always be thinking and polishing your purpose and polishing your passion and thinking about it and praying about it and pushing harder. So, my dear, you have a good problem. I love that problem. So, let's keep having more of those problems. Okay, and I am thinking our time is, yes. So we have just 3 minutes to get out of here. So if you have a question or something to say, you say it now, or else we'll be closing. But it's been nice having you all here. And it's nice to have this family, to grow together, to count on each other, and to just know that in this world we are never alone. It feels warm to know that there's a Coach Zaitun somewhere, there's a Coach Christine somewhere, Kathy is somewhere, and there's it just feels warm that you are not alone, that you are not on the side tracks trying to make ends meet, but you are on a proper road and you have locked in your direction and you are moving and you are unstoppable. That encourages me and that builds my momentum even more. So I love you, and For gladiators 2, please, let's build more momentum, because some of you are about to cross over into the moment of round tables, and I'll be handing you over to the main group, that is of the accelerated mentorship with its leadership, so that you can be able to know what exactly you ought to do. Okay, so I'll be shortly after this. For example, Marie, I've seen others that are about to finish. I'll be handing you over to President Christine, so that she can guide you on how we cross over into the round tables and how we cross over into doing assignments and all that. So I can't wait for that. Great insights here. I'm learning a lot. We appreciate you so much, dear Major Coach. Bless you so much. Okay, you are the best mentor and a great leader, one of a kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you so much. I have to believe in your words. The moment you discover your purpose, we don't have time for Lugambo or Wendy. That's beautiful. So let me wish you a great night, and let me wish you a lot more growth, okay? And I just pray that it's uncomfortable, because I don't want it to be comfortable for you, because you have not arrived. So I want things to pinch you. I want you to be uncomfortable, so that you can keep chasing and keep chasing and keep wanting to be better and better. The world is waiting for us, and we cannot show up if we are not ready. So let's be ready about in every way, in every possible way. Let's be ready. So from me to you is a good night, and see you in the next session next Friday. That is 8 to 9. We are always here to share insight, answer questions, and just bond as a family and learn together. Okay? Bye-bye.